Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ad Army, and we are back as with EX7 dropping in about, I think, 2 weeks. It's time for us to approach EX7 and look at some of the archetypes here. I wanted to do the What's the Scoops a little bit closer on this one just because it's kind of random when we will get some sets. You know, they want to release them in certain time frame windows, so the formats are kind of short. But with EX7 coming out shortly, I don't want to talk about it because I have been reading Liberators and it's been pretty good so far. So finally time to talk about some of the archetypes or themings that have been supported. But as always, remember to accelerate the sub count. We are trying to get up as quickly as possible, getting back on the grind. So help me out and you help yourself out by getting better content and more content with your support. So as always, for the What's the Scoop, as we go into it, we will obviously go through the proverbial thing where you get a first look, but so do I, getting to talk about these magnificent cards. So let's get into it today as we are focusing on Ice Snow and the Ice Snow trait. So this is actually a brand new trait introduced into EX7 to the broader game in order to tie in, I guess, all of the snow and ice related themed Digimon and other associated stuff. So it's really cool. And we'll be looking at the brand new egg associated with it. So we have a brand new Hyarimon here that when attacking once per turn, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, you get to draw one. So pretty standard, but very interesting as this will be tying into more of the trashing related effects that will be accustomed to the typing now. So let's look into our first level 3 as we have a brand new Balukomon here, which says on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you get to add 1 card with Paildramon or Hexablaumon in its name, and 1 card with the Ice Snow trait among them to the hand. You return to the rest to the bottom as always, and as a rule, this Digimon is always treated as having the Ice Snow type in its trait, so very interesting. And then for an inheritable, when attacking once per turn, you get to trash the top Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Moving into the next level 3, we actually have a Snow Agumon entirely designed around this with the brand new keyword Iceclad. So Iceclad, I'll read it off. Other than except against security Digimon, compare the number of Digi-Evolution cards instead of DP in this Digimon's battles. Additionally, it has the same ruling where it has to have the Ice Snow trait in its type. And additionally, for its inheritable, when attacking once per turn, trash the top Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Now, I'll just explain really quickly. Iceclad is pretty much a really interesting form of removal. Think of it like, instead of retaliation, it's more of a simple... The best way to explain is like assume it like having a DP buff, but based on your sources of evolution cards. So the less your opponent has when you attack with Iceclad, if you have like 2 more than them, or even just 1 more than they do, than their Digimon that you're attacking, no matter what it is, that will be counted in the battle. So you're able to basically you could knock off a level 6 that happens to be on top of a level 5 if you have a level 3 that may be, in this case, having another source or so. So obviously that's pretty much how this works, is it just you're able to knock over other Digimon. Moving into the brand new level 4, we actually have a brand new Paildramon designed to help. It's kind of funny because Paildramon is a catch-all name, but the point is, this one is when Digivolving, you get to trash the bottom 2 Digi-Evolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, this Digimon gains Jamming and Blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. And additionally, it is always treated as having the Ice Snow type. Additionally, for its inheritable, when attacking once per turn, trash the top Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Very, very nice. Moving into the other level 4 associated for Ice Snow, we have a brand new, I always mess this one up. This is Sorcerermon. I always want to say Ice Wizardmon, but that's not right. So effectively, this one has Blocker, and then on play, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, one of your Digimon unsuspends, and this also carries the Ice Snow trait, or Ice Snow typing. Additionally, for its inheritable, when attacking once per turn, you get to trash the top Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. I'll explain how all these cards are supposed to work in the long run, but pretty cool. Also, we have a brand new in the level 5s. We have a brand new Crisp Paildramon here, which is carrying Iceclad as well. And then additionally, when Digivolving, you get to trash any 2 Digi-Evolution cards under your opponent's Digimon. Then, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards this Digimon gets to unsuspend. Additionally, it carries the Ice Snow trait or Ice Snow typing. And then for its inheritable, while your turn, while your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, the Digimon with the Ice Snow trait gains Piercing and Security Attack +1. So really, really strong. Moving into the only level 6 for this type, this card for this typing in EX7 is the brand new Hexablaumon. So it reads as follows: it carries Security Attack +1 and Ice Clad, so very interesting combination. And then when Digivolving, you get to trash any 4 Digi-Evolution cards under your opponent's Digimon. Then, if your opponent has no Digimon with Digi-Evolution cards, you get to return one of their Tamers to the bottom of the deck. Then during your opponent's turn, none of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digi-Evolution cards as this Digimon can suspend. Additionally, it now has the Ice Snow type as well. So very, very cool. And let's talk about the only option card that's associated with this being Summon Frost. For its main effect, you get to trash the top 2 Digi-Evolution cards of all of your opponent's Digimon. Then, if this effect didn't trash any cards, you may play one level 4 or lower Digimon card with the Ice Snow trait from your hand without paying the cost. Then, until the end of your opponent's turn, none of their Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards can attack. Additionally, for its security effect, you get to activate this card's main effects. So that is all of the cards associated for Ice Snow or the Ice Snow typing. Let's talk about what they can do. So obviously the first thing that comes to mind is that this is technically legacy support in the case of the Hexablaumon line. This is designed to kind of put together those archetypes, because I wouldn't say it's 2 separate archetypes, but the Hexablaumon cards for the most part have not been conjointed or connected, and Hexablaumon's actually been a very old archetype at this point, existing ever since BT5. So it's been about enough time they finally gave it cards that are just centered around it, and this actually is pretty good. They have obviously the original Hexablaumon. You have Blucomon, you have Paildramon, I think twice, and Chris Paildramon twice. So you're able to kind of get those cards fished out for a pure deck. But also, because of the new Ice Snow trait, these cards are very much powered up by working together. So the brand new Snow Agumon and the brand new Sorcerermon are very interesting in that they are support cards that can be put into this specific strategy. I think the strength of this strategy is the fact that they've tried their best to tune up the trashing effects of these Digimon. That was a problem before, as a lot of the trashing mechanic of the bottom sources from Blue really has not been seeing as much play. That's mostly just because there hasn't really been a good usage for it. But with this typing of Digimon in the current situation that we're seeing in the Ice Snow cards, we are seeing this resurgence, and it's really trying to function on trashing and also controlling. So it's really good to see this. When talking about exactly what you want to do with this strategy, it's pretty interesting because you can kind of go in a few different routes. So there's obviously been the standard Hexablaumon design where you just kind of trash the sources and you gain memory and then build your way up to Hexablaumon. This is now a lot better with the inclusion of the second Hexablaumon from the set, because it having security attack +1 really does allow it to check a lot of decks, because one of the problems I think Hexablaumon had before was that it never had a good way to reliably gain multiple security checks. Now with Chris Paildramon and the new Hexablaumon, you can be checking, I think, 3 security if the situation helps out, so that's pretty good. Looking at just normal sourcing effects, I think Paildramon's designed really well, because it kind of reminds me of Bulkamon, in that what this card is really designed to do is, in the early game, take advantage of being aggressive, but also in the later game, if all you can do is get into your champions, allowing Paildramon to do some big swings against your opponent really will come in handy. Like I said, the big thing is the searching power that we will be receiving in the form of the Blucomon really does help out. And because it can search Ice Snow trait cards as well, this does mean that it will be buffing future supported Ice Snow trait cards. And with other Ice Snow trait cards being a part of it, they will now be a part of the strategy as they are searchable. Sorcerermon is one I want to talk about because of how unique its effect is, where in reality, a good way to learn how to play this deck is actually reading the Liberators comic. Well, it's a comic, but it's the web manga. You could read it and then you'll understand how Ice Snow is supposed to function. Luckily, that is already up, so you get to kind of see how they want you to use the deck. So I will say it. Additionally, my favorite card in this new wave of support is probably going to be tied between the new Blucomon and the new Hexablaumon. I think both of them really do stand up a lot really well. But additionally, I want to talk about Summon Frost, because what Summon Frost really will do for the strategy is that it's going to allow this deck to basically accelerate a bit further. The reason why is, although trashing 2, even though they're coming trash 2 top security, or sorry, not security, the evolution sources is still like pretty okay. I think what makes this card good is its secondary effect. If you don't get to trash anything, to play the level 4 or lower card with the Ice Snow trait from your hand without paying the cost, and then effectively locking their Digimon at none of their Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards can attack. The reason this is so important is that it now allows you to establish Sorcerermon as a blocker if you don't trash any sources, but also it allows you to, if you watch the actual chapters, you will see how it's used to kind of be an aggressive tool, which is something that this deck definitely needed, because Hexablaumon has always been like a big stack deck, and even though they now have a lot of ways to check with security checks, they still were missing like an additional Digimon. So this deck could still lose out to something like Retaliation, but thanks to Summon Frost, you're now going to be able to kind of pressure your opponent by spamming the board with just a little bit more like a champion or even just a rookie. So maybe you want to use Summon Frost early game because your opponent uses a Tamer, right? And you have they brought their Digimon up and they have a Tamer in raising, or a Tamer in the back. You can now basically snipe off 2 sources from the Digimon that comes out of raising, and then additionally with it, you will be able to kind of just have that additional like memory back, but they lose their sources, so it'll enable your strategy. But additionally, if you don't hit any sources off of a Digimon and you use this effect to play out something, you're now able to kind of take advantage of empty board states with this card, because it can allow you to effectively make something in raising. They give you a 4-cost Tamer, so now you have 4 memory. You can fire off with this for 5, give them 1, and then now you're able to play out something. And technically speaking, it would be like it's until the end of your opponent's turn, so none of their Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards can attack. If you give them 1 memory back, unless they have a memory setter, what's going to happen is this will now effectively let you play something. They can't attack unless the thing has a source. So hard play Digimon, for whatever reason, that could do early chip damage, are not offline. The point is, this card is really good, and I think Summon Frost is a very good card. I think the only thing I would have wanted is that Summon Frost be a 4-cost option. It being 5 is just a little weird for me, but you know, it's just because I think a 4-cost would have just been a lot better. But yeah, that's not that bad. Finishing off talking about the whole line, I think what makes this deck great is that it's not too hard to learn. So, and unlike most of these videos where I talk to you about what you should do if you want to look at something, you can go online and look, because Hexablaumon and trashing strategies have been around arguably since the inception of the game. The advantage you have here is that this deck is very intuitive. It teaches you what it wants you to do, and it's one of the really good reasons why I would tell people to pick up maybe the strategy, because it does allow you to really get started well with like a deck, so it's pretty robust in how you play it. But additionally, its advantages are because it's a part of a lot of different cards that can help you. You have cards like Zudomon Ace, you have cards like the Gomamon promo and the original Blucomon, which gain you memory for stripped sources. There is so much you can do with this deck, but also it's not too complicated to learn. I really like that about this deck, because you could probably give this to someone who's just starting to play and kind of show them how to progressively make the deck better. And that's kind of one of the reasons I love EX7, because there's a lot of decks in here and strategies that get better over time, but because that they will have more waves to support, or they're already part of strategies that are already pretty good, it kind of allows you to kind of pick and choose what you want to play. But that's all I've got for you guys today. This has been What's the Scoop with Ice Snow in EX7. And as always, this has been Brad from the Ad Army signing off. And for all of you out there, to sign on.